Who's going to go winless the longest?
Is that even a...
I don't even know who's winless right now.
There's only 2 teams.
Is it LA and Sporting?
You got it,
I know it's Sporting. I know it's Sporting.
It's Sporting. The answer is Sporting. Here's the thing. How epic would it be if we do a reverse Invincibles and become Sporting Kansas City Vincibles and go through the whole season, no wins? A record's a record, dog. Let's go for it, Sporting. At this point,
I think Sporting should go for the all-time goose egg. Kevin, we skipped last week.
We really did we? I don't know.
Yeah, I think we did. I think we needed the break.
Yeah.
I do. Do you remember last week I asked you, or I said that I want the league to at least have some kind of controversy to pop off because it's been boring?
Yes.
And I feel like it happened.
Yes.
We can go straight into the news. First, the Red Bull situation. We still don't know what was said specifically, right? They didn't release that, which I think is a good thing. I do find it kind of awesome that the Red Bull fans don't think that his punishment's enough, and so they're kind of like boycotting themselves.
Yeah.
Which is kind of dope.
Yes. Oh, I'm not surprised by how they're reacting, but it is so dope to see that. Basically, yeah. So they were playing San Jose, so Red Bulls, and at some point in the game, there was something that we do know it was
racially charged.
Racially charged. We know. We just don't know exactly what was said. But yeah, there was a huge scandal because there's for so many reasons. They did the investigation almost live, where they had like 20 minutes of added time because they're trying to figure out. Long. Yeah, the coach supposedly heard what was going on and still kept them on, and then he released a statement saying that he shouldn't have done that. Which no shit, you dumbass! No. Like he should have been off immediately.
Not even a little bit.
And
even without knowing what the full thing is, I feel like you should pull him off anyways.
Yeah,
because it's gonna distract everybody on the field. It's gonna distract everybody in the stands. It's gonna distract the refs. It's gonna distract everybody from doing what they're there to do.
Yeah,
I just think they should pull him off anyways.
Yeah, I think that should be a part of the protocol. Sorry, dude, but that's the deal. And so then the reaction before MLS released the sanctions or whatever they're gonna do, everyone was saying, I mean, whatever was said, not said, the guy needs to be done for the season. I mean, it's like obvious. Especially MLS has been posting for years now, like they are taking a hard stance against racism, like making sure that this doesn't happen, and it's gonna happen. Tolerance. But zero tolerance. So then we get the release, and it is 6 weeks out, only 6 weeks. On top of that, he has to go to like. Not anger management, but like some type of like
some kind of
management. I don't know.
I don't like
whatever
those
it is.
Like parts, like where they put those into the punishment because it's like that's just you're just saying this to make people feel better about it. It has nothing to do with him actually doing the course or whatever it is. At first, I don't think I really realized that it was only 6. I mean, I definitely read the number, but I feel like I was just assuming it to be so much bigger that I didn't like. It just didn't click to me that it was only 6 weeks. Right. For something to be like zero tolerance, that's very tolerant to me.
Man, in sporting world, people are like, so we had a guy, Courtney Ford, he was suspended for 10 games because he had like some vitamin shit that he wasn't supposed to have that his trainer gave him before the season. And they suspended 10 games, and we were kind of like, all right, whatever, too many vitamins. Like, that was the joke. Right. That was 10 games. This was
10 games.
Racially motivated attack, verbal attack, and
really showing what you care about.
Exactly. I mean, and every club I think has that type of thing. Like everyone is like, well, our guy got suspended for like 15 games. You know, it's crazy. And obviously, this is coming from 2 white guys, but imagine what you're feeling as a player when you hear something like that, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you hear. He's gonna be back, you know.
He's gonna be back. Yeah, from his side too. It's like you don't matter, which is crazy. It's crazy. It's just a wild. Like I can't even. Which is why I guess the Red Bull fans are so outraged. Which I guess I can't think of a team that wouldn't or a fan base that wouldn't be outraged.
No.
So it's good to see, but it's like you should be outraged. Like you 100% should be. So. Speaking of outraged fans, though, moving on from that one, you want to go into the LA Galaxy? And we're not going to go straight. I don't want to go into us yet because we're definitely outraged as well. But LA Galaxy, for those who don't know, Chris Klein, the president, the LA Galaxy's fans are kind of boycotting them this season. They're not going to games. because the president's contract was kind of extended this year. So he has said he is going to kind of just no longer be the president if they don't make the playoffs. And currently they're in like 27th overall?
Yeah, they're above Sporting. They have no wins. So
they're right above Sporting. Okay. 0 wins. At this point, do you think like everyone but Klein is happy about that? Like, let's be down here so we can get Klein out, or would you think they would rather be doing well and keep Klein?
From what I've seen, another organization it's dope that their fans are reacting this way. But from what I've seen, LA fans are on the same boat. It was almost like how Sporting was last season. We were like, we're not gonna make playoffs, so we're just gonna fuck around.
Right.
LA's like, oh, we're not gonna play. We're not gonna play well. We're gonna play shitty. We're probably not gonna make the playoffs, and we get the reward of him leaving. I mean, it's pretty dope. But they're another one of those organizations that are so used to winning, so used to playoffs. It's gonna be hard to say that the players are not going to try to get to playoffs. That's weird, especially having the big names that they have. But I'm rooting all the way for LA to not make playoffs, refresh, because it's going to be dope. I don't like LA, okay, but it would be dope to have LA and LAFC be gods to the point where their rivalry is epic.
It would be nice.
Just one of those things, both on our end, we're like, well, we don't want them to succeed, but it'd be cool to see them hate each other and murder each other.
Which it kind of ended up being a little bit that way. A little bit, but you could definitely still see who was owning that match.
Yes, for sure.
Even from, I mean, I saw some people, I think it was Eli actually, that was like, this is the lowest point of all LA Galaxy during the middle of that match, which goes to show. But I think you're probably right. Like the players are not gonna tank. Has any player actually talked about Klein yet? I haven't seen.
I don't anything remember a player, but
about that.
But the thing that annoyed me again was, I don't know if you saw the comments that their coach was like making all these excuses for the season. He had this viral clip of him literally complaining about referees, I
saw the handball thing where he was like chicken winging.
So it was after that. One-on-one, I mean, he was going after the kind of like the reporters, asking him questions about playoffs and the scenario, blah, blah, blah. And it was just a bad look. Like, he, as the coach, should just ignore the Klein shit and just, again, focus on the field, focus on the team, whatever.
Yeah.
But he just went too far into so many excuses and blah, blah, blah. And it just
how long has he been the coach for them?
I don't know.
A minute, right? He's not new.
It feels like a minute. It feels like
I don't think he's a new coach. So do you think, if Klein does leave, they don't make the playoffs, do you think he's also on the chopping block? Or do you think it's going to be like a wait till Klein's gone, see how he does, and then chopping block?
The thing that's going to happen most likely is when the new leads come in, they're going to... It would be crazy for them to be like, all right, let's give it one more shot. They might clean up house. That might be the reason people are really wanting Klein out. It's like, hey, nothing is working. Everything is going to shit. And yeah, look, the Klein thing is so deep. Like, we need to get an LA fan in here for this. But it's more than just like, they're doing bad. It was like they get fined for doing things that they shouldn't have.
It's a bunch of dumb stuff.
It's so many.
It's like above team. It's like front of house nonsense. It makes no sense. Yeah. It's not just like they're bad, therefore we need to point the blame somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that, there was a question that I was asked actually. So we'll go right into that one. We can talk about ourselves now, and our teams. But one of the questions was basically like, how long do you give a coach, and do you give them leniency before it's time to maybe thinking like, oh, okay, this is the problem. We need to shoot from here, because it feels like in LA, it's not just Klein, it's also potentially the coach.
Yeah.
I know for Kansas City, you feel similar that it is the coach.
Yeah.
Whereas with Charlotte, I don't know if the coach is the problem, because we have a lot of injuries. It's a brand new team. It's a bunch of like people trying to put pieces together. And on that side, but how long do you think in situations with like Kansas City specifically, is it time to be like, okay, Peter's gone?
Okay, this is all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Because just run through it quickly. I don't want Peter to leave. I want Peter to stay. I love Peter as a coach. He's like one of those guys that you want. But the problem is, if he doesn't adapt, because the league is changing so much that back in the 2012s, 13 era, 14, he was like a god. He was coaching well. We were winning titles, whatever. And no one was going to question Peter, okay? Mostly people would question a player or something. But now the league is changing. Cities are bringing in better pull, new teams. it's harder for Kansas City to be relevant and blah, blah, blah. If he doesn't change, then yeah, he's going to have to leave. On my end, my opinion is he's probably not going to leave anytime soon. It would take, I've heard so many things from sporting fans where it's like, yeah, you have a Peter Vermees outside, and then you have like, no, we need like the front office to be reshaped and we like Peter, we just need to change that. I think I sit more on like front office needs to at least show sporting fans they care, make a statement, whatever, and then kind of calm us down for another week or two or whatever. But the coach can't say anything. He's already an angry guy. He goes into a conversation in an interview and he'll just be angry, dry, never answers any questions. That's just how he is.
Bad interviewer, bad
interviewer. Yeah. So on our end, it's like if we change him, this club is like unlike any other club. He has been here the longest than any other coach. He has not moved anywhere. He's turned down Team USA multiple times. This is his home. He's a director, or sporting director and coach. If he's gone, we just have the feeling of like another Peter's going to be in there, or one of the guys he's worked with is going to be in there, or if Peter just goes to sporting director, the guy's going to be a puppet. So it's like we need a front office to be like, Peter, change it up or whatever, or you're gone and we need to clean up everything from the bottom.
Fair. Have
sucks.
Someone who comes in who doesn't care what Peter says.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Someone who goes, hey, that's my opinion. I don't think, I think every sporting fan has their own little like, oh no, we should do this or that. But if we kick out a coach like that type of coach so quick, it could be like a nightmare scenario for us. We could be irrelevant forever,
He's been there for
since
a decade.
Yeah, definitely. Like 2009, 10, whenever we did the rebrand. So like the guy's been here forever. Like God, and the thing is, he's had success, so it's hard for some people to be like, okay, time to move on. But if it ended last season and he said, thank you guys, we ended okay, we got some hope. He goes, all right, there should be someone else coming in. Perfect. But instead of doing that, Kansas City said, hey, we're giving you 5 more years, Butto.
I was about to say,
and we're going to hope that he plays well or does well. So that's our situation.
That's fair. I mean, when you have a coach that's been around that long in an organization, it's equal parts hard to kick him out and hard to change his mind about how he's doing things. So I'm going to look up how long Latanzia's contract is. I don't even think he really has one. With an option extension through the 2024 season with an option for 2025. So he's not necessarily going to be here for a long time because he came in like halfway through the last season, which was our first season, and then he was there as the interim. So his contract didn't start till this season. So it's 2022, 2023, 2024, and then extension potential on 2025. A lot of people are calling for his name in Charlotte, but Charlotte fans, I feel like, don't realize that we're still putting pieces together. 2, like our goalie is injured. One of our center backs is injured. Our captain is injured. Like we have all of our people just like are not around. Right. So it's hard to like try to find all these missing pieces when your missing pieces are still missing. Yeah. So it's like you're trying to piece all this stuff together. So I don't think like right now, a lot of fans are calling for Latanzio. I do not think right now is the time for that. Plus, I like you like Peter. I like Latanzio. He's very level-headed. He feels like he's someone who gives people chances, which I don't think you see a lot with soccer. It's like you have to either do well or you're out the next game. You perform now or you don't get a chance ever again. Whereas he's like, he waits and waits. It might even be to a fault where it's like too much, which I can understand where people would be like, okay, now it's time for you to get out. But I think if this season ends and it's still it's like the exact same as it was, I think then you can start calling for him after a full year of it just being like a nonsense. So I think like that.
So what is your situation? So you're in the situation that kind of close when Sporting was several weeks ago. We had so many injuries. Now we don't have it as an excuse. So now the guys are coming back. Alan's finally had a game where he played more than 60 minutes. So now we're like, what's our excuse now? If you guys several weeks down the road, whenever you get players back, keep playing, are you still on the same boat of like, all right, let's finish the end? I mean, if you finish... Like, if firing a coach midway this season, I guess is the question. Will it work? Is it worth it? Is kind of...
Well, I feel like, in my opinion, when you fire a coach midway, you're basically scrapping the rest of the season. Yeah. Because that coach has to learn the whole process. But I think when you do fire a coach midway through the season, it takes them the next season the beginning isn't a wash. Whereas if you fire a season at the end of the season, a coach at the end of the season, that like training ground is going to be him trying to figure it out. So then those next, like the first like month or so of games are kind of iffy whiffy. So I don't know if everyone does come back. I mean, like Kalina, the goalie, I currently right now would rather have George Marks in goal, which he's been in the goal. He did make a really bad mistake. Yeah, well, he's like technically I think he's our third string keeper.
Shit. Okay, yeah.
But he's been outperforming our second string Cisniega, so he's been doing, in my mind, phenomenal. He'd had a really terrible freaking mistake that costed us the goal and gave us a tie last week in like the 91st minute, which was really tough to swallow. But other than that, I feel like he's been absolutely phenomenal. So I wouldn't give him the start back. But then you've got Carujo, who's supposed to be a center back, and right now we've got Malanda and Tuiloma, which I don't know who right now they're both kind of equally not doing what they should be doing. So it's like, who do you even put in that position? And then you've got Ashley Westwood from England, who played at Burnley, who is now our captain in center mid. Who, if he is, in my mind, why our central mid has an issue of kind of converting from back to front, and vice versa, and like kind of doing all of the mid work. If they all come back, and it's I still don't think that the formation that we're running currently would work, where it's like Enzo's up top by himself. I just don't think it's going to work very well because we can't get him service. And granted, that could be because our midfield's not there. That's totally fair to say. But I do think if everyone was back, it would be more of a looking at Latanzio a little bit more under a microscope, figuring out what's going on and why it's not going right. Because his like last game, I don't even think I've talked about this. We had two players, Nuno Santos, and I think it was Andre Senyusiki, were not even at the game, and he wouldn't answer. People asked him where they were, and he wouldn't answer that. Granted, English is not his first language, and so he answered something like, "I will only speak to the players that were here, not the ones that weren't." So it kind of read like maybe they had like personal reasons for not being there, but I don't know. It's like really tough to.
That could mean anything. That could mean they had an argument.
It could mean literally anything. They could mean anything. People could be buying their contract. They could be going somewhere. They could be dropping down. It literally could be anything. So it'll be weird to see how people handle him throughout the rest of the season if Charlotte continues to do what they're doing. I mean, they're really not playing extraordinarily terrible.
Yeah.
It's just disconnect after disconnect after disconnect. Like solo, they're very, very good, but it's like I just don't let me look right now. I think they have like 9 goals total, which is not terrible, but I don't know. It's just not great.
Well, luckily, Charlotte's position, because there's goals that are being scored, it seems like a lack of focus on certain times of the game. That seems fixable. It doesn't seem like,
it's just experience.
Doom and gloom. Yeah, I think. And you guys are not, again, you guys are a young club, so it's like everyone's figuring shit out as you go. I'd still, even with how they're going, it just seems like, I know we're like 20% done with the season, but it seems like they're going to pick it up and they're going to make playoffs. And
it's like every game feels like
we're close.
They're on top. It's like they feel like they're on top, and then they just like randomly,
just
I feel
give
like
up.
Almost I think. Hold on, let me look real quick. I think in every game, it's just like goals come like back to back. It's like the Real Salt Lake, it was like 3 goals in like 3 minutes. It was crazy. Colorado's was like very similar, where it was. I feel like it was
bang, bang, bang.
Our goals were bang bang, and then it was like because Colorado's was like in the first half and in the very end, but it's like our goals were bang bang. So it's like very short spurts of either like very, very good play or very, very poor play that cause either us to go up ahead very quickly or go below really quickly. So I do think it's just an experience thing with them. Also in news, you want to talk about Ben Sweat?
Bro, what the fuck?
This doesn't make any sense.
How does this keep happening?
It doesn't make sense to me for where he went. So, for those of you who don't know, Ben Sweat was on Sporting Kansas City and was a center back, right? Or left back?
Yeah. Left back.
Okay, so he went from a team that was 0 wins, 3 draws, 5 losses, 3 points on the board.
Yep.
To a team that is number 1 in the Eastern Conference, 5 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss with 17 points. Yep. How does that make any sense?
Been, dude, In Miami, people even mentioned it to us like, oh, bro, we did not like him in Miami. Then in Austin, oh, bro, we did not. New York City FC, same thing. It's like, and then he gets to Sporting, and by the time he got to Sporting, everyone would DM me and fans or whatever and go, why do you guys give this guy a chance? Why do you keep doing that? And I even was like, of course, Sporting would be the last club to give him a chance. I mean, I don't fucking know.
But now he's going to New England.
Now he's going to New England, and
which
guess
makes
what?
No sense.
We play New England Saturday.
I cannot wait to see what happens. I hope
I
don't like hope ill will on any player that makes like a debut, but I really do hope that you guys burn right past him.
Bro, it's crazy.
It would be crazy.
Other club fans are coming in and going like, "Oh no, he didn't get along with so many people at our club." Blah blah. I'm like, bro. This is not secret if the fans hear this, behind the scenes stuff.
No, yeah. If everyone else is talking about it, it's 100% happening, and it's probably even way worse than you can think of. And so it'll be really interesting to see how New England goes from here. Like, is he the curse or whatever?
Oh my God.
He better have I guess he's got to have like the best manager in all of sports.
Sure.
To be able to pop into teams, especially going into this team makes no sense.
Dude, I don't get it. It's unbelievable. He was like an expansion draft pick, okay? And then that brought him like a lot of attention. Inter Miami, this newer team got him. And then he just kept going team to team to team. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. But yeah, like you said, I don't wish like I don't hate him. I don't know. There's a lot of people that have publicly just gone crazy towards him.
Right.
But he doesn't help himself in any moment. On the field, he will do the craziest things that you've ever seen. Like, haul ass from the back to literally in the box and not track back at all. It's like, what are we doing? And it kept happening for weeks and weeks and weeks now that a club sees him and goes, yeah, we need him. I'm shocked. I have no idea.
It doesn't make any sense to me. So we'll see how that goes. It would be wild to see if New England just like plummets from here.
Oh, the plummets.
Plummets from here, and then Kansas City just like
it goes up. It would be
wild.
What about that story?
Honestly, like from playing sports and coaching, people in the locker room, like the gel that's there, 100% affect.
Oh yeah,
how well the team does. So if he was causing some kind of rift or putting splinters places, like it would make sense for why things just like aren't connecting and why people just don't care anymore.
Oh, for sure.
So it will be interesting. All right, do you want to move into last week?
Sure.
Soccer games last week. Did any of them? We don't really have to talk about Kansas City if you don't want to, because that game was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But did any of them catch your attention? I'm looking at it right now. Other than we can talk about Portland and Seattle in a little bit, and then we can talk about LAFC and LA Galaxy in a little bit. But did any of them catch your attention?
St. Louis Cincinnati was the
that
one
game
that
nuts.
I thought after St. Louis losing to good teams, you start to wonder. Everyone starts to wonder. Okay, is this how they are? Is this the real team? Whatever. Cincinnati at that time, I think, was still undefeated.
Yeah,
I mean they were balling, and they got absolutely fucked. Like they got 5-1, easy. Yeah. There was a huge
Were they missing
delay.
people?
I don't think so. The only thing that, and there's no excuse for one team other than the other. There was a crazy long delay because of tornado warnings. But that you would think, okay, that probably affects both teams. And since St. Louis came out insane, so now everyone's kind of been saying it like, hey, we got to put respect on their name. Let's respect, and even they're like, hey, respect us. That was a game where I'm like, shit, if they could do that to a Cincinnati, I don't know. And they're back, first or second again?
Yeah, they're first.
Maybe first, yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah,
because
I think it was a great
Seattle
statement.
Lost.
Yes, because Seattle lost. Exactly.
It's crazy. If you look at the stats, it's kind of weird, though, because it's like St. Louis did have more shots. They had 17 instead of 11, which Cincinnati did. They had 7 on target, and then Cincinnati had 5. But then possession is 58% Cincinnati. Cincinnati has more passes. Cincinnati has a higher pass accuracy. But then St. Louis has 12 more fouls. Same yellow cards. I don't understand where it's like they had to. I don't even know. It's like random pushes of excellence.
Yeah, it's the breakaway counter press.
It's the counter press craziness.
That is, and it's working. So like, who cares? They're doing it. Yep. I think that game was one of those where I can finally go like, yeah, I think they're for real. Like this is.
I think too.
If you lose Seattle, they're fucking going off right now. And who else did they lose to? Was it LA? I can't remember. Another good team.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
They lost to
Seattle was one.
Seattle and St. Louis. I mean, not St. Louis, and Minnesota. Sorry, I read.
Oh, Minnesota. Yeah. Well, Minnesota lost this week, but they were also on the come up. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm totally in the spot where I think St. Louis should. Well, they are comfortable, but they should really feel comfortable and going into the end of the season.
So in my mind, it's literally just because they're running the press, even though people should be, I feel like teams should be used to a press in MLS. Like the counterattack fastball back to front, I feel like is like what most people say is the problem with MLS.
Yeah.
It's like just going like without doing all the ticky-tacky possession ball. How long do you think until teams start breaking that apart? Because if that's all they can do, then it shouldn't be that hard to beat them if you can figure it out.
If you can figure it out. The thing is, I'm excited. Like, here's the thing. I think they're a playoff lock. Okay, I don't know where they're going to end, 100%. But they're locked in for playoffs. So now the question is, are they those elimination games and those games where you have short turnaround periods for every game? You are putting in so much energy in a counter every single time, and they can do it so far. They got these long breaks in between. Are they going to be able to do it in the playoffs? I don't know. But the Seattle game, I only could watch the highlights, and it looked like, oh my God, if they both win in the playoffs, I feel like Seattle would sleep through them no problem again.
Yep.
Like it looked like I've never seen this. It was like crazy how different they played. It's like Seattle figured them out. But again, like you said, everyone should figure them out. I think it's more like endurance. Can they keep pushing? And maybe they can. I am so interested to see.
It'll be interesting to see how far it goes. Yeah, I don't know how far, but so the only team that's I don't know why my brain's going into this, but the only team that's undefeated still is LAFC, right?
Yeah.
No other team is
I think that's it.
Undefeated.
Minnesota lost.
So now, Minnesota lost, and then Cincinnati just lost. So we were totally wrong. We said Atlanta, I think, and then something else, and then we just were totally wrong. I don't know if there's any other games worth mentioning outside of Cascadia and Trafico.
I don't think so. Everything else was like
everything else is kind of weird. Like Toronto tied Atlanta.
Yeah.
New York did beat Nashville. Nashville.
Yeah,
I feel like before this week, Nashville has not let in many goals. Actually, they have only let in 2 goals, and then New York doubled it.
Yeah,
this week, which is kind of wild.
That is wild. But again, it could be one of those weird games. They seem solid. It's like now it's weird that we're thinking like, well, can Nashville score enough now? Which last season we were like, dude, they're lights out.
Yeah, they're just always scoring. This year's not. I mean, they've done well, but they just I think they're only winning because they're not letting people score.
Yeah,
so we'll see that. And then you've got Columbus drawing with New England, Red Bulls drawing with Dynamo, Charlotte drawing with Colorado, Chicago drawing with Philadelphia, Austin drawing with Vancouver. It's just been like there's just so many I know a lot of people love defense, and I love a lot of people like the back and forth because some of these games can be interesting. But like if you look at the stats and it's just like tie, the week is kind of boring.
Sure,
But then Orlando City beat Minnesota, and then FC Dallas beat Real Salt Lake. San Jose beat a red-carded Sporting Kansas City 3-0. It's a fun time.
Easy.
And then you've got LA Galaxy versus LAFC. That was Sunday. We can talk about Castigadia first, where Portland, who's been struggling a lot this season, whoops up on Seattle 4-1. Looking at the stats of that game is very similar to looking at the stats for the Cincinnati game. Yeah, where they have more. Portland has more shots on target, but then the possession, pass accuracy is all higher on Seattle's side.
I think
very strange.
Not to make Portland and LA fans kind of feel it. I think these games they mean a lot for the rivalries, of course, but for the total of the season, I don't think it's gonna mean a lot. The reason why it's like those type of, like LA played like they never played like that all season so far. No. They have not played. LA Galaxy was like they started shitty, then they fought back, and then it got real close towards the end. Like maybe they got an equalizer. They haven't played that forever. A bunch of people have been saying like, dude, if they play like this the whole time, they might be like top 5 team in the region or whatever. But
I don't think they have it in them to play that.
No,
it's like they have to put it in for a very short burst because they don't have. And this is the game to do it if you're going to do it.
The rivalry games bring out craziness, and that's why you see Portland. This should have been the opposite score.
100%, yes.
It should have been Seattle 4-1. Yeah, so it's like hard to look at these games and go, "Ooh, maybe now Portland turns around."
No,
or maybe now LA.
Absolutely would not draw that conclusion if I was.
I can't feel it, even though it would be cool to see, but I just don't see it happening. It's just like one of those things. It's like that. It feels like another one of those weeks after we had that international break. We're like, well, who that international area, those games were kind of fake games. When it's a rivalry game, it's so hard to tell what's actually going on. There's too much emotion.
It's in my mind, even like the rivalry games, I feel like it's very similar to the international games where the team that shouldn't win is probably more frequently going to win.
Yeah.
In those international games, because and the better teams probably have more players on the international side, right. And then with these rivalry games, the higher ones, like I feel like it means more to the lower tier team, maybe a little bit more, where like the higher tier teams are like, okay, we're focused on one thing, and that one thing is winning the league. We're not really focused on this. We just got to beat this team and then move forward. Beat this team, and it is still going to be a rivalry no matter what. But it's like we are better than this team. We got to push forward.
Right.
And for the lower teams, like this is our championship.
That's the cup. Exactly.
This is our cup. Like this is our cup. This is what we need to put in, because we're not going to make it and do anything else for this season. Potentially, I'm not saying like Portland's not going to maybe come back, but I mean, LA Galaxy, you're not going anywhere this season. Let's be honest. So like these games are their cups. Yeah. So I think that's probably why they're a little bit more crazy. I don't know if we want to get into our frustrations with our clubs. Like we already did that.
I definitely was getting. I knew with my rant I was gonna get shit. That was a build of pure anger from weeks of shit, and also a lot of talk that was just so un-soccer football-esque that I was so shocked that people were just like, I mean, literally a podcast I never heard of thought I was talking about them when I said like all SKC podcasts are just like okay with everything, and we're like delusional at the point where we're like we have it's gonna be fine. Where I didn't know they existed. They literally just bashed me and said, we don't want to scream in our mics, and we care about more important things like school shootings and races. It's like you have a podcast about fucking Sporting Kansas City. That's what we expect you to talk about.
What? No, okay, yes. I'm sorry. If you have a soccer podcast,
yes,
you being upset about Sporting Kansas when they're doing poorly is like what you're supposed to do.
That's the thing. That's
the job.
And my whole gripe, which wasn't towards them because I never knew they existed, but my gripe was, don't be upset at fans that are upset. So like my thing was
very rightfully upset. You're literally last in the league.
Bro, last in the league, re-signed a coach. We spent millions of dollars on a new clubhouse right before the season. For what reason? Like all this stuff has, added to my anger. There's kids that are there for the Victory Project, which are kids with cancer that are at the game. They showed them at halftime. 10 minutes later, we concede and everyone's just like shocked. All the anger and sadness like just came out. So then the slack I was getting was some people were like, oh, relatable, but I get it. But then some people were like, you shouldn't care this much. Or they'll go, people who don't like MLS go, why, who cares about this team? Who cares about the league? No one really cares. Like, whatever. It's like a lose-lose situation. And I thought, okay, I'm going to get Euro snobs, South America snobs. They're not going to be happy, or they're going to be like, what the fuck? Why you care? But when I heard Sporting or fans of the league saying the same thing, that's when I was just like, what are we doing here?
People get mad that you care too much?
This is exactly what was said. Or they said, like that. I only heard a clip from that goofy-ass podcast, but I was hearing people saying like, oh, well, people are mad at you because you were yelling, and it's not that serious to be yelling. And the point that podcast said, there's more serious things to be yelling. Motherfucker, I do a stream about Sporting Kansas. If we want to talk politics, we'll do another podcast about school shootings and idiots and stuff like that. That's totally separate. And that's where I think there might be a disconnect with MLS. I don't know. Not all MLS fans, but there are some fans that are like way too nonchalant, and that's how they feel fine.
Yeah.
But
you can be nonchalant.
Absolutely. You can not care. And that podcast that I never heard of, I would not come after them and be like, you don't care enough. No, my point was I heard several podcasts getting mad at people for being upset. That's why I said what I said. It was just like a weird thing that I'm just like, so left, like it came out of left field. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? But yeah, that was my frustration, and I think that goes for every team in any league around the world. And I just literally talked to a guy in Argentina who does stuff for River, and which was crazy. I talked to him, and he's like in with the club. He saw the video. He said, I mean, literally every fan does the same thing. And he even was like, you're not special, no offense, but every fan does that. And I'm like, I know. But there are people here that are just so shocked by someone being mad about a sports team that it's like, do you watch sports? I mean, New England fans are famous for being crazy.
Yes.
Boston
oh my God.
fans
It's
are
probably
like
the same. It's crazy. It's like it's the same people that are like, oh my God, the homecoming of Argentina when they played after their World Cup was so beautiful. And it's like you see one side of the passion, and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then you see the other side, and you're like, why do you care so much?
Exactly.
That makes no sense. It's like if you care this much about the good stuff, you can care just as much about the bad. And it's just gonna be. People are so
I know it's shocking, but
bored almost.
I'm glad, the joke is like everyone, just everyone has an opinion. Everyone starts their own podcast, whatever, and that's fine. No one's coming out at people for being creators. But my only thing that I would ever get upset about, and that's when I did, was hearing that some people, not that podcast, another podcast, was just kind of like, hey, guys, it's a bit cringe that you're just being upset, and some people just want to be upset, and that's it. It's like, no, dude,
people are just upset. Let them be upset. If people are upset, let them be upset. Don't be weird about it.
And if you're happy, like, hey, I'm fine with Sporting being dude, all right.
If you like them being last, bro, at least say I'm happy with. Like, it's the sheep over what is it called? Wool over the sheep's eyes or whatever it is.
Right. Yes.
Like, don't be naive to the fact that you're in last. You can be happy and be okay with them being in last, but don't be like, oh, it's gonna get better.
And the support that was my final note is. You could definitely I'm going to keep supporting them. You absolutely keep supporting them. The fear is if we don't care anymore, we'll lose fans, or we just will stop gaining fans. And every other club is going to get past us. They're going to get bigger and bigger, have better atmospheres, and we're going to fall off like we haven't already. So that was my only gripe. And I don't know. I'm not trying to start beef with several people, but my only anger, obviously I had to explain to some people because they were like, are you talking about me? And I'm like, listen, fuck God, I did not want to have to do this, but listen, I streamed for like 2 hours, dude. I talk about everything under the sun, and in that moment I was
streaming
mad.
Also, like, I just want to point out, streaming is not it's not like a conscious train of thoughts.
No,
it is like
no.
the most off the wall random things that pop into your head and you just say them out loud without even thinking about them a lot of times.
Yes.
So like, don't take anything seriously that comes from a stream.
Exactly.
If it comes from like curated,
like I write an article, like all right,
it's a little
there
different.
You go.
Like when you're just like recording content and then like sending it out, it's a little bit different. So don't get like upset with that. I do want to say though, you put on the fake hoops kit, huh?
Oh yeah.
How'd it feel? Like ass?
God, so weird. Yeah.
How's that button feel? That button feels weird, doesn't it?
It's so strange. I was like, do I button it? Do I not button it? If I was a player, look, I like look of jerseys because I'm obviously not a player, so I anymore, not professionally. So I'm like, it's cool. I like collars. I mess around with for the look. Some people hate them. Like it's fine. But my whole point was like, people were gonna say, and people were already saying, they're like, okay, wear the jersey because watch, you're gonna start winning. So I'm like, all right. To get rid of all the jinx, I'm gonna wear it. We're still gonna lose, and I will stop wearing it.
Bad.
Bad.
And
we lost.
It was not a good game.
A horrible game. So yeah, it's whatever, bro. It's whatever.
Every time I see that kit, all I think about is like old-timey thermal pajamas that have the button. You know what I'm talking about? Or it's like one button and it's like the neck comes around and it just looks like super awkward. It's like no matter if you button it or unbutton it, you're gonna look like a kid on Christmas Day.
Sure.
So
yeah, it is weird.
It didn't work though for you, so maybe it'll work next week.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like you have to wear it once, get all the bad juju out,
and then move on.
And then the next week, next week maybe you wear it again, and it's like okay, now the luck's
that's my question. If should I wear it again or not? But it's already crazy because people. It was said to me before the rant. I'm trying to make that clear to some people, especially in the live. I was like, guys, they sent it before they saw it. Trust me, because some people were like, oh, they're trying to like buy your love. I know the guy that sent it. Super nice guy, and he was just reaching out. A lot of clubs do that. They reach out to creators or whatever. So it was way before the whole thing. So no, it wasn't like they were trying to butter you up or butter me up or whatever.
Keep you cool.
No. They know, and a lot of them know. Like hey, we suck, bro. Like, we get it. We understand. So, yeah, it's a bad situation. I feel bad for the players.
No. So you got to go soon, right?
Yeah, I could do like 10 minutes, 10, 15
okay,
minutes.
Cool. So we'll skip soccer talk. We'll just go into some questions.
Okay.
Question 1 is from Max. How many more winless games until Charlotte fires their manager? Well, we kind of already talked about that. But the next question is, who's going to go winless the longest?
Is that even a...
I don't even know who's winless right now.
There's only 2 teams.
Is it LA and Sporting?
You got it,
I know it's Sporting. I know it's Sporting.
It's Sporting. The answer is Sporting. So here's the... Okay, let's look at the schedule. We already talked about it last time, and we've been right so far for Sporting. We did not win against this San Jose. We totally saw that coming. New England, I think we get bitch slapped. Okay,
unless the Ben Sweat curse
right? Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna play. See, that's the thing.
I think we also, by the way, get bitch slapped by Columbus because Columbus has been popping off recently.
That's true. That's good.
I'm worried about that one.
So next week might be another solid L for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Woo! I'm so excited.
And then Sporting has what should be a winnable game after a U.S. Open Cup game versus Montreal. So we could potentially go loss against New England. Who gives a fuck about the
27th right now, 26th right now? They're also like they're bottom 4. They're in between. They're between Charlotte and LA.
Yeah,
I think.
Now LA Galaxy next week. They have.
They have Austin.
Yes, they have Austin.
Could be. Who knows?
That's true. They could win. They could win that game.
They could
for sure. Or let's say they draw whatever. Their next game, I thought it was a winnable to
Orlando.
Is it Orlando? They also been sus.
Which Charlotte beat Orlando.
Yes.
So I do think LA could end up winning way soon. Sporting. So Sporting's not going to win this week. We can just say that.
No, they're not winning this week.
Sporting could win next week, but you never know.
You never know. Yeah.
Yep. And then I think you guys are on a bye. Oh no, you play the Sounders on that Sunday.
Yeah,
that's a loss.
Fuck.
Let's just see how long you guys can go. Let's see. And then it's Minnesota. Okay, you're not winning that game.
Massive.
Straight up. Sorry. And then it's LAFC. Not winning.
Massive. And that one I'm not even streaming. I'm not even streaming that.
Oh my god. And then
we are
St.
fucked.
Louis.
And then St. Louis, which we get fucked.
You are gonna have a terrible year.
And then Portland. In Portland, it's like, okay, they beat us our first game. We are getting absolutely wrecked up until, I don't know, forever.
Oh my god. And then it's
bad.
Who's next after that?
Here's the thing. How epic would it be if we do a reverse Invincibles and become Sporting Kansas City Vincibles and go through the whole season, no wins?
No wins would be what's the record? Do we know what the record is?
I think we have the record. Oh wait, hold on.
What is, like, y'all are in it right now?
I know we have a record for like lowest amount of goals scored in the first 8 games.
Okay.
Like we had the previous record in 1999 as a Wizard. So we are literally always going to hold that shit. That L is always going to be ours. Oh my god. Okay, there's some crazy ones. In 2013, DC United had a record of 3 wins, 24 losses, 7 draws.
That's terrible.
There's a Tampa Bay team that doesn't exist. Metro Stars doesn't exist. Chivas USA, who don't exist anymore. 4 wins, 22 losses, 6 draws. Okay, all right. Our brothers in Salt Lake in 2005 had 5 wins, 22 losses, 5 draws. Fuck.
Oh my
horrible
God.
stats. I mean, these are some really bad seasons.
What's the longest winless, though? While you're looking, can I just say that I like Kansas City Wizards way better?
Oh, me too. I absolutely love 100%. And I even made a joke the other stream that we could have been badass and not, maybe tread lightly on the line of like Harry Potter-esque thing where we actually have like a almost like Hogwarts vibe, kind of like
crazy,
wizardy and fucking.
I kind of like the OG. Like if you go right now, if you go onto like the MLS store, there's a Mitchell and Ness like line of clothing, and it's all the old throwback Wiz stuff. It's
wow, sick. yeah, that's true. And the colors are great. Anyway, it's like so good. I have a thing that says, okay, to start the season in 2012. Toronto started the season losing 9 straight matches.
9. Okay, and y'all are at not losing, but
losing. They fucking straight up lost. Oh my god! And they finished the year only winning 5. That's crazy. Looks like. Oh, sorry. Okay. Summer Blue 2018. Orlando also lost 9 games in a row.
2018.
2018.
That's
Summer
recent.
Blues. That's super recent. and they went on to win 8 out of and lose 24. Fuck. A record's a record, dog. Let's go for it, Sporting. At this point,
I think Sporting should go for the all-time goose egg. That's
goose egg. What's the point? We're still gonna have the same manager at the end of the season. We're gonna same fans, same environment, same
people, everything.
Same
there.
Players.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go, baby.
Happy-go-lucky podcasts.
Yes.
So that'll be.
Don't
fun.
Be mad.
Don't be mad. Not allowed.
Yeah.
Not allowed to be mad. The other questions are, which we don't really have to break this down because this one will be a long one, but it's first quarter of the season rundown. We can do. I want to do that at like every 10 games or so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like every 10 weeks, so we can wait for that one. And then this is kind of old, but it says thoughts on New York City FC Stadium being announced, location, price, how far out will it be to be complete, which we can talk about that later, like break it down a little bit more. And then at this point in the season, what team has surprised you and you think they'll be a contender to win it all? I personally don't think there's one that surprised me that can be a contender to win it all outside of like St. Louis.
Yeah,
because like St. Louis but we talked about a little bit where I think if they get figured out, I don't know if they continue.
Yeah, that St. Louis is one on watch. One that surprised me, I'm just gonna be straight up, is I guess 2. New England and Cincinnati were not on my radar at
New England's
all.
That's a good one too.
Like New England, I was just like, what the fuck? How are we in first place or tied for first? I know it's early, but like this far, wow. Really shocked me, and they have a pretty OG coach as well. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think that's a shock for me, and it would be crazy to see them make a run, and it would shock everyone with all the teams right now. I mean,
it'd be wild.
It's hard to imagine a LAFC losing to them or something like that, but fuck, it has definitely surprised me how they started.
Yeah, Cincinnati isn't super surprising to me, but like they're doing very well. Like they're doing a little bit better than I thought they would. But the New England one, I remember because their first game of the season was Charlotte's first game of the season, and I remember going and being like, this shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah,
and it was not great. I mean, they won like at the very end of the game, but it was still like that. Looking back on it, I definitely was like, oh, this shouldn't be too bad. This should be a good game, and it like now they're number 1 in the East. So we'll see how long it lasts with Ben Sweat. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. That's all we got. You got anything else?
No, you know what, guys? Have fun this weekend. Have a great freaking weekend, guys. I hope all of your teams win, you know.
We will be crying.
We definitely will be crying, for sure. My nightmare, here's why I'll end it with this on this point. Okay. My nightmare is Ben Sweat goes to New England and converts himself into a player that the league has never seen before and becomes an absolute wall for the club, which will rub in the burning sensation even more for Sporting fans. So that's my nightmare. We're about to find out if it happens.
I hope it does not happen because that sounds absolutely terrible.
God.
So anyways, thanks for watching. Kevin, you have a great business thing.
Thank you.
I'll see you after you cry. We might be taking next week off if we're both sad. So I don't know. We'll see. Cool. All right.
Sounds good. See you guys. Ciao.
Peace.